everybody. It's Bourbon Bill, and tonight, a very special episode. We're diving into one of the most anticipated releases, maybe not by me, but by you. And you know, the cousin, the twin, the brother, the sister to a release we just talked about. It's Shenks 2024 from Michters. So, big shout out to Seth James for sending me a sample of this bad boy. Look at that big letter, Shenk 2024 on it. Thanks, Seth. Appreciate it. Normally, I do this review with the Bombergers. This is the first year in 3 years I haven't had them together at the same time. Couldn't wait. Wanted to get you the news on the Bombergers. I'll link it above my full review of the Bombergers 2024. Spoiler, it's pretty good. If you like Bombergers, it's worth a pickup. Instead of one video, we get two, but you know, more Bourbon Bills, always better. Always better. So look, Shenks is the lesser, if you will, lower proof cousin to Bomberger. It's only 91.2 proof, compute, 45.6% alcohol by volume. So it's not as proofy. It's a sour mash whiskey versus a bourbon, like the Bombergers. I'll put up a picture of the bottle of the Shenks. I don't have a bottle, obviously, to show you, but it's a similar old-timey label to the Bombergers. Similar, just says Shenks 2024. With that whole batched release system numbering that they have on there. Now, quick recap. Bombergers was supposed to release a culty barrel finish in 2024, and maybe they still will, I don't know, some controversy around that. But Shenks feels, at least by the website description, just like the Bombergers, very similar to 2023. I thought the Shenks in 2023 was decent, but just not worth the $120, $130 hair MSRP for that low proof of bourbon. Just didn't bring enough to the table. Okay, so if you want to know the details on the 2024 Shenks, besides the proof and the price, sour mash whiskey with a substantial amount of rye in it. They use rye whiskey that is aged in French oak sourced from the Visage region of France before being naturally air dried and seasoned for 24 months. So 2-year air seasoning, that's long, but what's Bombergers? A little bit longer. Just keep that in mind. And then they toast it to their specifications as wood. That's all great. This recipe also includes whiskeys with unique grains, including malted rye and caramel malt, which offer a nice creaminess to the rye forward. Herbaceous and spice qualities is what they say. 2023 says they use a substantial amount of rye. Different toast and char for 2023, but they do talk about a 24-month air-seasoned French oak from the Visage region of France there as well. They don't talk about the caramel malted rye, but they talk about malted rye in 2023. So it feels very similar to 2023's, except this caramel malted rye is the only thing from their website that's different about the Shenks 2024. So let's take a look at, here's the Shenks in the glass, but you know, it's fairly light. Here's the Bombergers. You know, they're close. The Bombergers is just the faintest bit darker, which actually bodes well for the Shenks, being like 16 proof points lower, or 15 proof points lower almost, and it's almost as dark. That's good. On the nose of the Shenks 2024, we're not expecting a lot, to be honest. And we didn't get a lot. It's very high malt heavy. It's got that malty breadiness to it on the nose. But a lot of fruit, a lot of berries. I don't find it distasteful, and we're not malt fans here. So it reminds me of Chattanooga high malt bourbon, to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest, it does. If I got this in a blind, I would go, that's Chattanooga, because this is very like berry, fruit forward, but like also the high malt smell. I get that off Chattanooga. This is weird. I've never got this off Shenks. There's a lot of caramel here as well. All right, down the hatch. That's going to be a do not buy. It's thin, watery. It's very malt. It's very chaotic, to be honest. The fruit comes up there. There is the malty breadiness. There is a lot of caramel there, which I assume is from the caramel malted rye. It kind of is herbaceous, as they said on the website, but it very much tastes like Chattanooga, and Chattanooga is like 40, 50 doll hairs. Not no 120, 130 doll hairs for the Shenks. Take a second sip just to make sure it wasn't me. Factoring taste alone, we give it a C+. I don't hate it even though it's very high malty. Factoring in value, F. I wouldn't buy that at all. That's not a good value. Don't buy the Shenks. We'll compare it to the Bombergers here just to reset my palate. I mean, this just smells darker, sweeter, more caramel here. No high malt note, but obviously the Bombergers is a bourbon and about 15 proof points higher. There's also some cocoa here. Man, I forgot how good this one was. I just had it like a week ago. All right, down the hatch. Yeah, the Bombergers is a lot better than the Shenks this year for 2024. I think last year a lot of people liked the Shenks so much better, which I thought was odd. I disagreed, but I would agree that they were close last year. This year, not close. The Bombergers 2024 right here smokes the Shenks. I would not get the Shenks if I were you and you're a budget conscious guy or gal. I would skip it. Now, thanks to Brantley Hamby, thank you, sir. This sample's been living on for a long time. Shenks 2021. I've never really bought the Shenks, but I never get samples of it to save. I always drink them. But this is the 2021 Shenk, so 3 years ago. Okay, now, if we go back to their website, which Michters does have all the websites here. 2021 Shenks use Chinkapin oak. So much like the Bombergers, they both use Chinkapin oak at that time. 2024, it does not. It said it used some rye in there, but didn't have all this malted rye or caramel malted rye in it in 2021. And let's give it a nosing. God, so much better. It's got that oakiness to it. Oh, the fruit, the caramel, wow. None of those high malt notes. 2021 was far superior to 2024 Shenks. On the nose. On the palate, let's give it a taste. Oh, wildly better than 2024. Not even in the same league. Not even in the same league. Shenks 2021 is a lot better than 2024. I'll tell you that. Has not improved with time. And because that's not all, we always give you more on this channel. For a bottle that probably deserves its own review. So here it is anyway. Chattanooga Bib Spring 2020, which is the 2024 release. Big shout out to James Street, always a long time supporter of the channel. This sucker's still sealed. So thank you, James, for getting this for me. I always prefer the spring bibs over the falls. It's been that way forever. And I thought this would actually... I was thinking Chattanooga when I was tasting that Shenks 2024. Now, I have not tried the... Oh, what's that cork pop? I've not tried this at all. Fresh crack. You know what? Off the nose, it smells better than the Shenks. These are like 50 doll hairs-ish MSRP. And we are gonna compare it to the Shenks just for you. But if you're a Chattanooga fan, I am, but I'm cautious. Okay, Chattanooga can get wildly in an area that I don't play in. Okay, usually their bibs are pretty good, the spring especially. And usually I like their SB091 mash bill the best. This is one of the first spring bibs to not use a ton of that. So I am a tad worried. Could it be too malty? We don't know. This one is only 30% SB091. A lot of them have been 50 to 80%. This is only 30%. 20% B005, 10% B005 version 2, 20% B005 version 3. Don't know what that means at all. And SB055, 20%. So it's got a fairly significant amount of a lot of different things that I can only personally say I like SB091. The other ones, don't know. Never had enough of them in enough quantity to tell you whether that's a preferred or that's too malty of a mash bill from Chattanooga. So very interested in this. 50 doll hairs, 100 proof. Age greater than 4 years because it's a bib. So there you go. All right, Chattanooga Spring 2020, which means 2024. On the nose, fresh out the bottle. You can smell the high malt in here. But also a dark caramel and some fruit. I say this is more caramel than fruit though. Normally these are very fruity with like caramel secondary. This is caramel primary, fruity secondary. Here's the Shenks. Now, I'll say the Shenk smells better on the nose. I will give it that. As much as I just shat on the Shenks 2024, it does smell better on the nose than the Chattanooga, but they're actually somewhat similar. There is the high maltiness there is a fruitiness there is a caramel there to both, but the Shenk 2024 is a little bit deeper, richer, more caramel, if you will. All right, Chattanooga down the hatch. The Chattanooga is very good, but arguably maybe a little simple for all those mash bills that are in it. It's very like that maltiness, breadiness, a lot of caramel maple syrup, if you will, and some fruits. But it does feel thicker and proofier on the mouthfeel, which is nice. Back to the Shenks 2024. I think initially the Shenks actually has a more mature profile. It's probably older than 4 years, right? It's a little bit sweeter, but the flavor in the Shenks dies like immediately, and it's far thinner and waterier. Now, I know it's like 9 proof points less than the Spring Bib, but my point is they're pretty comparable. $50 hairs, and the Shenks is like $120 hairs. Ain't no way. Shenks, you still lose in terms of value. I would say flavor profile-wise, I might prefer the Shenks 2024, but I should for more than double the price. As far as the Chattanooga Spring Bib, what's Bourbon Bill's rating on this? It's grown on me the more it sits here in the glass. It rested for exactly like 30 seconds before I tried it. I'm going to go with a B. I think it's very good. I think the price is right on it. I think it's lacking complexity, though, of other years. Oddly enough, for as many mash bills as it carries, I think it's lacking complexity that I've had on other bibs of the Chattanooga. So that'll be interesting. We're probably going to do a more in-depth review on this and a lot of other Chattanoogas. I got a nice lineup kind of growing of samples, so we're going to do a pretty big Chattanooga review here coming soon. If you've been a fan of the Spring Bibs before, just know this one feels a little more simple yet sweeter. We'll say that. So if that's what you're looking for, I'd pick it up. If that's not what you're looking for, I might try to find one of their single barrels or one of their white port finished ones, or maybe coming soon, a Pinot Noir finished one that they have coming out. So if you like what you saw tonight, please like, comment, and subscribe, or consider joining our Patreon. Thanks everybody. Have a good evening.